Stephen Colbert's show has been canceled. It's great. Great news, is it not?
This is incredible on so many levels, and I'm going to call him on this.
I love how they claimed it's a financial reason, but everything is a financial reason, right? If you open up a restaurant, you serve lousy food, people stop coming, you close it, you don't say because the food sucked. You said, well, it was a financial reason. But they didn't just they didn't cancel his show. They canceled the whole show.
Yeah.
This was a quote institution, and they said rather than put somebody in his place, they just said we're closing up. I mean, imagine being a chef. You know, you're such a bad chef.
When Stephen Colbert's show got canceled, Megyn Kelly and Greg Gutfeld didn't just comment. They erupted with unfiltered sarcasm and zero restraint. They sliced through his fading legacy like it was their own personal comedy feast. The fake laughter, the preachy monologues, the try-hard sketches, all finally exposed for what they were: empty noise. This wasn't a casual roast. It was a full-scale teardown. Colbert didn't exit with dignity. He was dragged off, one cutting remark at a time.
Founding partner of Puck News and formerly Hollywood Reporter. The timing and optics, he says, are terrible for the Colbert cancellation. Not true, not true, not true. The timing and optics are perfect. Only leftists think that the timing and optics are terrible because they think somehow this was retaliatory because Stephen Colbert was ripping on CBS for entering into that $16 million settlement with Donald Trump, who was suing them over the 60 Minutes Kamala Harris interview and the edited clips, claiming it was a deceptive practice under Texas law.
It's amazing. I mean, I guess he's less popular than Shingles, but you get this, it's so obvious. You can't do a comedy show and a sermon at the same time. Your job is to say something funny, not being the show that says, that's not funny, about all the things that are...
Stephen Colbert's cancellation wasn't just predictable, it felt pre-scheduled. The real shock is that it took this long for network executives to realize the emperor wasn't just naked. He was out of jokes and running on pure fumes of smugness. His self-satisfaction could fuel a private jet, but apparently not a late-night show. For years, he only pretended to be a comedian, dishing out reheated Twitter takes as if they were fresh material. And now, finally, the curtain falls on what may be America's longest-running televised eye roll.
Yeah, I share your feelings. It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of the Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away. And I do want to say that the folks at CBS have been great partners. I'm so grateful to the Tiffany Network for giving me this chair and this beautiful theater to call home. And of course, I'm grateful to you, the audience.
Megyn Kelly didn't just show up with popcorn for this disaster. She arrived armed with receipts, a folding chair, and a flamethrower. Watching her dismantle Colbert's supposed legacy felt like a courtroom showdown. If the witness were a failed gesture and the judge were already half asleep. She shredded his record like a teacher grading a hopeless student who tried to pass off TikTok memes as a thesis. The final verdict, a giant red F stapled to a sad little participation ribbon.
Colbert grappling with that news.
Now, if, like me, you're wondering why the Department of Energy is the one making this judgment, it's because that agency oversees a network of U.S. national laboratories, some of which conduct advanced biological research. No. Bad energy department. No biolabs until you finish building your electric car.
Greg Gutfeld, on the other hand, didn't show up to critique. He showed up to cremate. Where Megyn Kelly was methodical and forensic, Gutfeld radiated pure volcanic chaos. He treated Colbert's cancellation like a demolition derby at a state fair, watching every twisted piece of credibility crumble with glee. This is a man who's watched Colbert try to outfunny a plank of wood and lose every single time. So Gutfeld's reaction wasn't shock. It was long overdue satisfaction. The kind that builds after years of watching someone juggle arrogance and irrelevance and wondering how they managed not to sprain their own ego.
Recent months. And this, I would submit to you, is why Stephen Colbert's show is no more.
Going
Stop
on in
by.
LA reminds us that as citizens, it is crucial to speak out against Trump's fascist impulses, his rampant corruption, and his egregious violations of our norms and our laws. The last time a president bypassed a governor to send in the National Guard was 1965, when LBJ used troops to protect civil rights demonstrators in Alabama. So we've come full circle. Troops were deployed to protect protesters by Lyndon B. Johnson, and now they're being used to threaten protest.
Colbert's comedic collapse wasn't sudden. It was a slow-motion wreck a decade in the making. There was a time when he was sharp, really sharp. His Comedy Central persona had bite, satire, and the occasional joke that didn't sound like it was written during a group therapy session for over-caffeinated wine moms. But the moment he entered late-night TV, he did what every mid-career sellout dreams of, traded his edge for a slogan. Somehow the entire show morphed into one long, exhausted sigh. If self-righteousness ever had a laugh track, it would have been called The Stephen Colbert Show.
Hey, everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. Senator Adam Schiff was my guest. We harmonized on 7 Bridges Road. What a voice. I cried. But before we start the show, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season.
He didn't tell jokes, he curated applause. Every monologue felt less like comedy and more like a moral TED Talk, just with worse lighting and an audience that looked like they accidentally wandered in from Whole Foods. His crowd didn't laugh because he was funny. They laughed because they agreed. And let's be honest, that's not comedy. That's group therapy with commercial breaks. Megyn Kelly called this out with the precision of a surgeon and the satisfaction of someone who never bought into the hype. She reminded everyone that Colbert wasn't canceled by some grand conspiracy or political ambush. He was canceled because he couldn't carry a show without clinging to every trope in the progressive comedian starter kit. You know the one, sneering at the middle class, mocking Walmart shoppers, and reacting to every Supreme Court ruling like it personally ruined his brunch plans.
The fight, but I'm just saying I'm not like sad and all these people are like forlorn over. It's like, all right, grow up. They're having a dispute. It was bound to happen. They'll get past it. As you point out, Trump is extremely forgiving, and I'm sure Elon is too. I mean, Trump's not, whatever. Laura Ingraham reported last night she's been told it's irreparable. Nothing is irreparable with Donald Trump. Nothing is irreparable. But here's how the late night losers were making fun of it.
Elon gave us a fun one. Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJ.
Gutfeld didn't even have to dig for material. He just pressed play on the highlight reel of Colbert's greatest disasters. The vaccine dance, the cringe sketches, the faux presidential addresses written by someone who thought satire meant reading headlines with jazz hands. And the interviews, dear God, the interviews. You'd get more personality from a wacky, inflatable tube man outside a used car lot. Watching Colbert talk to celebrities was like watching someone read a Wikipedia summary while blinking Morse code for help. And then there was the desk-turned pulpit. Somewhere along the line, Colbert stopped being a comedian and started behaving like a self-appointed oracle, the kind with a Harvard diploma and a simmering disdain for anyone who wears an American flag pin without irony. His version of humor wasn't built to make people laugh. It was built to make them nod gravely and fake chuckle through clenched teeth. Every punchline sounded like an essay title, propped up by forced applause from an audience convinced that clapping counted as activism.
All these guys, my show, and we're only in 61 million homes. CBS reaches nearly 300 million Americans. They don't talk about that. He also had 200 staffers. I employ nothing but teenage runaways. And by the way,
Megyn Kelly sliced through the chaos with surgical sarcasm. She laid bare how Colbert had transformed into a walking personality vacuum, an echo chamber masquerading as entertainment. She didn't just laugh at his downfall. She analyzed it like a case study in what happens when someone mistakes ideological agreement for actual talent. And when that agreement fades, the applause disappears right along with it. Meanwhile, Greg Gutfeld turned Colbert's career into a tragic comedy. Here was a man who once mocked the system, only to become its screensaver, the comedic equivalent of airport CNN. Background noise no one asked for, but everyone tolerated while waiting for something better. Gutfeld even compared Colbert's show to a fire extinguisher trying to tell a joke. Sure, it makes noise, but it's not putting out any flames. You could practically hear the studio execs panicking as his ratings sank below sea level. They threw everything at him. Bigger budgets, splashier guests, even that infamous dancing syringe. But the audience still drifted away like concertgoers fleeing a headliner who reads bumper stickers off a Prius. They tried every fix except the most obvious question: is this even funny anymore? And for years, the answer has been a loud, undeniable no.
Quite a few billionaires who support you. You are from Northern California, after all, where they grow them in fields out there. Who's your favorite billionaire? Because we all have a favorite billionaire. On three. 1, 2, 3. Oprah. I'm sorry. I claimed Oprah. You can't take her now.
What's happened to him is what happens to virtually every news personality and late night personality and host of popular shows, podcasts, etc., which is they start getting invited to parties with.
Megyn didn't just poke fun. She tore gaping holes through the entire late-night formula. The fake laughter, the scripted interviews, the virtue signaling pretending to be genuine moments. She exposed it all. She said what everyone knew but few dared admit. Colbert wasn't entertaining. He was predictable. And in comedy, predictability is the kiss of death. He became a magician with only one trick, and by year 6, even the rabbit had checked into therapy. Gutfeld couldn't stop laughing as Colbert's slow public collapse played out like a souffle deflating live on national TV. Ratings plummeted, viewers bailed, and advertisers eyed the Times slot like it owed them rent. Yet through it all, Colbert kept smiling, shrugging, and doubling down on the same stale routine that had doomed him from the start. His humor grew stiff, smug, and about as funny as a TED Talk on tax reform.
$100 million a year to produce and is losing more than $40 million a year. That's unbelievable. So net, it takes in about 60. It's losing $40 million a year. He writes CBS execs had been mulling for a long time whether to pull the plug.
This is amazing for so many reasons, but culturally it's so indicative of.
Megyn Kelly tore into this fiasco with the fury of someone who'd been waiting years for the mask to slip. She reminded everyone that comedy is a meritocracy. If you're not funny, no applause can save you. Colbert wasn't canceled for being bold or controversial. He was canceled for being boring. And no show survives being both preachy and dull. Gutfeld, ever the sniper, didn't just roast Colbert. He torched the entire culture that kept him afloat. The celebrity cameos, the political rants, the meticulously choreographed outrage. He called it what it was, performance art for the elite. And when the audience finally stopped pretending to laugh, the illusion crumbled. What remained was a man, a desk, and haunting silence. Together, Megyn and Greg made it unmistakably clear. Colbert didn't lose his audience. He drove them away. He treated comedy like a classroom chore and his viewers like students trapped in detention. Each episode felt like a lecture, every joke a sigh, every sketch a wine-fueled therapy session for people still mourning 2016. Even his staff looked exhausted, their laughter thin and hollow, like people clapping for rent money while pretending the emperor's new suit was made of Gucci.
Man, I really think he's just not a good guy. I mean, he completely took that show, which was a great sort of platform in nighttime television, and the Ed Sullivan Theater, and completely drove it into the ground. He had originally been at Comedy Central, where he was more comedy. And when he moved over to CBS, he decided to be more pundit. He desperately wanted to be Keith Olbermann. And guess what? Keith Olbermann is a failure.
Megyn and Greg agreed on one brutal truth. You can't build a legacy on vibes alone. Eventually, someone checks the receipts, and Colbert's were nothing but canceled checks and dusty cue cards. Megyn's sarcasm was surgical as she recapped his desperate, last-ditch attempts to stay relevant. Dancing syringes, awkward musical numbers about inflation, even forcing himself into political debates like a man photobombing history. None of it landed. Because when your jokes need a dissertation to make sense, you're not doing comedy. You're assigning detention. Greg sealed the moment with his signature sting, comparing Colbert's show to a vegan burger. Overprocessed, oddly colored, and only enjoyed by people pretending to like it. This cancellation wasn't just business. It was poetic justice, delivered one stiff monologue at a time. Megyn and Greg didn't need to be cruel. They just needed to be honest. Colbert's collapse became a masterclass in what happens when applause is mistaken for relevance. In the end, the only people still clapping were the ones paid to sit there, or too polite to leave.
Right. Last Monday, Stephen Colbert tore into Donald Trump like a giant orange burrito. Now, before I roll the tape, I must warn you that it's very lewd, so turn it up so everyone can hear it.
You attract more skinheads than free Rogaine. You have more people marching against you than cancer. You talk like a sign language gorilla who got hit in the head. In fact, the only thing your mouth is good for is being Vladimir Putin's holster.
Now, of course, we had to bleep it, but you get the joke. He said Trump was having sex with Putin. Was it offensive? I don't know.
And just like that, the grand legacy of Stephen Colbert's late-night reign has been reduced to a punchline in someone else's monologue. One that, ironically, might actually get a real laugh. The best part? This roast is far from over. Now he's just another cautionary tale in the crumbling museum of late-night flops, right between Jimmy Fallon trying too hard and James Corden singing in traffic again. You'd expect Colbert to go out swinging, maybe reinvent himself, but instead he faded like a beige screensaver. The man didn't just run out of jokes, he ran out of relevance. Megyn Kelly made sure the world knew it. Every speech he gave felt less like humor and more like a hostage situation. Gutfeld didn't miss the irony either, pointing out how Colbert spent years mocking others for losing touch while building an empire on being completely out of touch himself. Here was a man who claimed to speak truth, but wouldn't recognize it if it tap danced on his desk. Watching Gutfeld shred Colbert's moral superiority complex was like scraping layers of smug off a chalkboard with a chainsaw. Brutal, brilliant, and long overdue. There's something poetic about a man who mocked cancel culture being quietly canceled by irrelevance. No outrage, no drama, just silence. And let's be honest, what's worse than being canceled? Being forgotten. Stephen Colbert's legacy won't burn out in flames. It will just gather dust next to that dancing syringe costume, waiting for someone to remember why it ever mattered.